This is New Mexico Frontiers. Presented by Veris Research.
Hello and welcome to this edition of New Mexico Frontiers, the digital series. I'm Chad Brummett. Thank you for joining us today. And we are talking about nuclear energy, and there are so many different chapters, so many different avenues to go down on this topic. But we're focusing in today on something that's going on, is coming to Mesa Del Sol in the southern part of the Albuquerque metro area. We have Ed Blandford, who is the CTO of Kairos, with us this morning. First, Ed, thanks for joining us. Appreciate you being here. Let's first just start off telling us a little bit about Kairos. What do you guys do?
Sure. So Kairos Power, we're an advanced energy technology company. We're developing a nuclear technology. We were formed actually in 2016, and we're based in California.
Okay.
We have locations in Albuquerque here in Mesa Del Sol, and we have a location also in Tennessee as well, where we're building our Hermes demonstration reactor.
Okay.
So we've been in existence since 2016.
Okay. And you are a former UNM professor, is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
So at the time, in 2016, I was a professor in the nuclear engineering department at University of New Mexico, making a hard decision about whether I wanted to leave academia and start a company like Kairos. Very much enjoyed my time at the university, but the opportunity was great, actually, to go do this.
And that's, we'll get to it here in a little bit, but that is kind of part of the reason that Kairos is at Mesa Del Sol in New Mexico, is that relationship with UNM. Is that correct?
Sure. So it's more than just UNM. It's also the national laboratories that are located nearby. At the time when we started the company in California, we recognized that we needed a place that we could actually build larger testing and manufacturing capabilities. California is pretty tight in terms of real estate.
Sure.
And so looking outward and looking across, we actually did a very large search across the United States looking for different sites, and Albuquerque was one of the ones that came to the forefront.
Gotcha.
So really having that past history and relationships with both the university and the national labs, it was really a natural fit for us.
Yeah, it seems like a perfect fit. Before we get too far into it, let's just kind of establish a little bit, because there is a lot of conversation when we talk about nuclear energy, especially now there's a lot more conversation of hydrogen and fusion energy. Kairos is focused on fission. Is that correct?
That's correct.
So to make sure that we're all on the same page, what is the difference between fusion and fission? If some of us, we may not remember that from high school science, or we're just a little unclear. What is the difference, and why fission for you guys?
Sure. So there's generally two forms of producing energy when we think about nuclear energy: fission and fusion. Fission is basically taking, splitting an atom, U-235. You're splitting atoms, very heavy atoms. In the case of fission, you're actually combining atoms and producing energy. So it's a different process, fundamentally quite different. For us, we believe there's near-term opportunities to develop fission energy and really get to the market soon. So it's a race right now between fission and fusion in some ways, and they have some different opportunities and benefits between the different technologies.
Gotcha. Okay. So what we are doing here in New Mexico, we're not building, as we said, like a big nuclear reactor in Mesa Del Sol, right?
No.
So what are we doing out there?
Sure. So we actually had a campus opening, it was about last October, I want to say.
Okay.
And that was because when we started the site in Mesa Del Sol, it was during the pandemic. So we never got a chance to really celebrate coming to New Mexico and all the activities that we were doing.
Okay.
And so we had a campus opening and what we call our manufacturing development campus. So that's really what we're doing in Mesa Del Sol. It's basically three big things. It's effectively producing really key parts of our supply chain. So it's where we're developing the capabilities to produce fuel. It's also where we're developing the capabilities to produce our coolant, which is called FLIBE. And then it's also where we're standing up large-scale manufacturing and testing. So really a combination of those three things is really what makes the Mesa Del Sol site really perfect for us.
Okay. Now, when we're talking about some of the things that go into the development, the fuel, the coolant, how does all that work within the larger reactors? What components are those playing?
Sure. So it's really important. One of the unique things about our technology, it is a fission technology. We leverage a new coolant. It's called FLIBE. It's a combination of fluorine, lithium, and beryllium. Okay. The reason we use this coolant is that it operates at low pressure. So when you think about how the reactor would operate during normal conditions, one of the key features about our technology is that it really operates at low to near atmospheric pressure.
Gotcha. And when a lot of times people, when they do think of those concerns, they're going to think of the historical, examples that we have: Fukushima, 3 Mile Island, Chernobyl.
Sure.
So we're kind of working with that low pressure. That's gonna reduce that risk of that.
It's going to reduce it. I would say the plants that have been operating today, despite those accidents that you mentioned, have a pretty amazing safety record.
Yeah.
They've done very well in terms of delivering reliable, clean energy. What we're doing is building on that. It's an evolution. It's enabling us to really take advantage of new coolants, new fuel forms, to be able to design more evolutionary systems.
Gotcha. Now, one thing is we were talking about maybe allaying some fears of things that are going on, obviously the reactors and down there, but we're also, and I thought that this was an interesting term, special nuclear materials.
Sure.
Two-parter, what is that, and what do we mean by not using special nuclear materials, and how does that kind of allay fears of what's going on?
Sure. So for Kairos, it's really important that we engage the community directly. And so what we're doing out at Mesa Del Sol, we want to be very straightforward about what we're actually doing in terms of testing and manufacturing. A big part of our development program is our ability to iterate, so we actually leverage more benign materials to be able to move faster. So the testing that I was talking about earlier, it's not testing that's regulated by the NRC, it's actually what we call non-nuclear testing. So we're not fissioning the plant when we build these large mock-ups. They're effectively mock-ups, and they mechanically perform very similar to the reactor system, but it's not using the same material.
Okay.
Why do we do that? It allows us actually to move very quickly. We're regulated by OSHA, we're regulated by the state, but it allows us to move very quickly in demonstrating the technology. So that really also applies on the material side as well. What we're doing on the fuel side is we're using a material called natural uranium. That's material that's coming in. We're using it to inform how we design the fuel. The actual fuel that's going to use what we call high-assay LEU, which is the special nuclear material, is actually going to be produced at Los Alamos National Lab in a facility that is representative of the facility that we're building in Mesa Del Sol. So we get a chance to work with a material that allows us to move quicker. It doesn't have the regulatory pathways that the special nuclear material does have, and it allows us to move very quickly. By doing that, it enables us to build a very similar facility up the hill at Los Alamos, where we're actually able to take that process and do that work up there.
So the fact that LANL is kind of up the road, and it really sounds to me like speed is a major factor in some of the work that we're doing, wanting to get this, operational and moving. Would you be able to do this on the same timeline if you were in another state that didn't have a LANL, didn't have a Sandia National Labs, and laboratories that obviously are very familiar with working with nuclear energy?
Yeah, so the ability to work with Los Alamos is a huge asset. It's a huge advantage for us. Same thing for Sandia National Lab. There's just a lot of domestic capabilities here in the state that we're able to leverage just in ways that you just can't do when you're not local and you're not nearby. One of the advantages about working with Los Alamos right now is they're about 2 hours away. So when we do a lot of our fuel development work, they're actually able to bring operators down and learn from our facility. So there's a lot of synergies there that we're able to obtain by just being down the road. So for example, when we build out that facility at Los Alamos, their team is able to come down and see all the equipment prior to installation work. So there's a lot of synergy and opportunities to collaborate better.
Yeah, and it really seems like it's going to streamline a lot of things to be able to do that in both locations, which again, New Mexico, very familiar with being able to do that. What are some of the other reasons, and are there other reasons that you guys ended up choosing New Mexico over some of the other locations around the country for this work?
Sure. So first and foremost, just the community, the access to great local talent, that was one of the major drivers for us. The ability to be relatively close to California also has a pretty big impact. So we have a large amount of our team members that go back and forth between California and Albuquerque. If that was 2 hours ahead or 2 hours further away, it would be a big impact on the team. So having relatively close proximity to our home base was actually really, really important. Yeah. And then just the state and the local community have done a great job of welcoming companies like Kairos. There's a lot of great economic development opportunities, incentives that really attracted the company. And it's just been a great place for us to work.
That's great to hear. You also reach in a number of things that why the film industry loves New Mexico as well, because we are so close to California. Makes for a huge benefit and time saver for all that work. Let's. You had mentioned earlier, and I kind of want to unpack it a little bit more. Some of the the fact that the idea of fission and fusion, kind of racing toward this thing. Are there benefits of going with the energy with fission in the way that you're working that fusion has not gotten into? I mean, we hear hydrogen energy a lot, but it doesn't seem like it's become as sort of stabilized or I guess widely accepted is fission.
Yeah, so I think, well, they always joke that fusion is 30 years ahead. That's always the running joke. I think the reality is fission is here today. We run fission plants. The type of technology Kairos is developing, we can deploy today, and that's really, really important. Fusion offers a lot of long-term opportunity. There's a lot of development challenges associated with the technology, but there's a lot of money going into it right now trying to resolve those issues. But they do have pretty substantial technology challenges, just getting materials to behave in these environments, harnessing the energy in a practical way that actually can produce electricity. Because one of the big challenges is people want reliable electricity, right? When the power goes out, people are upset, they're frustrated, and having unreliable power sources can create a lot of challenges for that. So as we bring these new technologies on, it's important that they are reliable, because planners are looking at production, they're looking at generation options, and they need to ensure that when this thing turns on, it's going to actually work and do what they need it to do.
Yeah, for sure. And, we have talked a lot about quantum and, with artificial intelligence, all of this great, robust next-gen technology requires a lot of power, a lot of energy. We need to make sure that it continually is fueling it.
Exactly.
Where do you think this is going to fit as we talk about the landscape of renewable energy? Where will Kairos fit in with this picture, not just in New Mexico, but nationwide, globally? Where do you guys see yourselves in terms of the mix of renewable energy?
Yeah, so it's interesting. The demand for electricity has gone way up recently due to a lot of these hyperscalers that are interested in putting data centers and really leveraging AI and other technologies. So the amount of electricity that people were projecting, the needs have gone up just astronomically in terms of where people are looking that we need to get to. So quite frankly, we need an all-the-above strategy, and that includes all the above on fission as well, so other fission technologies. We believe our technology is highly complementary to renewables. One of the challenges with renewables is just their lack of predictiveness, and so when it's not sunny, when it's not windy, you need something to back it up. And so that's where we have a lot of challenges in a modern grid, is you need to have baseload capacity to really ride out those variabilities that you're working with. So in a world where we're actually growing the power demand in a very large way, having all the above strategy is important, and that also includes better means of conservation, making more efficient end user devices. I mean, it's just all the above in terms of what the country needs to do.
Yeah, and it seems too, just talking a little bit about how it fits in, that it really is a collaboration, that it's not potentially going to be just one source, that there should be multiple sources, as you said, as a backup on the cloudy days.
Yes.
On the days when it's stagnant outside, there's no wind, that we do have this other source that can step in and fill the gaps that are there.
That's right. So baseload is critical, right? If you're on the surgery bed about to do surgery, obviously you want the lights to be on, all the equipment to be working. So it's important to have critical electricity and have that capability. So baseload is really, really, really important. And so finding carbon-free forms of baseload have been really the biggest challenges. The biggest forms of baseload today, beyond where we have hydro and big dams, it's really around coal and natural gas. Those are the major generational sources right now for baseload in today's market.
Now, another question that people watching right now, they may think to themselves, with Kairos Power coming here, are there job opportunities that will be coming along with that development?
Absolutely. So we are in a big hiring bonanza right now, and we are looking for a lot of employees. We're staffing up heavily in Albuquerque here at Mesa Del Sol, and then we're also starting to staff at our Tennessee site. But absolutely.
Okay. What roles are you looking to fill? What job opportunities are there?
Absolutely. So we're generally, I can list the whole gambit. We look for operators, people that can run equipment. So we're running these fuel facilities and these salt facilities. So we want people that basically know how to run pilot plants and things of that nature. We're looking for welders. We're looking for machinists. We have programs that we're trying to start up with CNM, trying to bring welders along. Machinists, we have a large amount of machining capabilities, some very unique machining capabilities. When we came to Mesa del Sol, we didn't buy a shop. We actually built a shop with local people, with people that were coming in from the community. It was very much a starting from nothing to building up a capability, and we're continuing that effort. So machinists, welders, and then we have a large amount of engineering needs, process engineers, mechanical engineers, and the such. And those job postings are on our website, but we're actively recruiting right now. In fact, we're trying to add capacity for our office space to be able to accommodate the new hires.
Okay, that's good to know. So this is a great opportunity if someone maybe can fit some of those requirements. They're looking for a new company to work with, new career path. You guys are the way to go.
Absolutely.
Now, if they're looking for the job, they're looking for more information, they just want to find out more about Kairos Power, where do you recommend us going online to do that?
Yeah, so go to our website. It's kairospower.com. If you go, we have a careers page. If you go to our careers page, we've had a number of local events where we've brought people out to the site, job fairs, things of that nature. So keep your eyes and ears open. We're going to be more public about some of our, we're going to be more locally public about some of our recruiting efforts as well, but just go to the website, and then obviously through programs like LinkedIn and elsewhere, a lot of those job postings are there, and that's the best way to communicate with us. Okay.
Long term, in addition to what's happening in Albuquerque, Los Alamos, will there be more footprints of Kairos in New Mexico? Do we? Obviously things may change, but are we hoping that there will be a bigger presence in the state beyond that?
Yeah, so there are opportunities for us to expand, and those are things that we're definitely considering right now. We definitely view what we're doing here in New Mexico as really developing the capabilities to deploy the technology. In this case, the first demonstration is actually going to be in Oakidge, Tennessee.
Okay.
So in a funny way, people here should care a lot about that deployment, because a lot of the pieces and parts that go into that reactor are actually fabricated here in Mesa del Sol. So the coolant, the fuel, some of the fuel, most of it's going to be coming from Los Alamos National Lab, but even the vessel. So we have a vessel manufacturing shop. We have graphite machining. All of these very, I would say, just unique manufacturing capabilities are being done here, but it's producing the material that's actually going to be going to Tennessee to make up the reactor system.
Gotcha.
So it's an interesting model, if that makes sense.
Well, it seems also, too, that relationship with Oakidge, Tennessee, Los Alamos, that clearly has been around for a very long time, more than 80 years now.
Absolutely.
With the Manhattan Project and the development of the first atomic bombs. So it looks like that relationship just continues on decades and decades later.
And the neat part about that, actually, just quickly add into that, is we're building on a brownfield site. So it used to actually house a very large enrichment facility out in Tennessee.
Okay.
So we're very big on finding brownfield sites, restoring them back to their current purposes, and being able to reutilize them for technologies like ours. Gotcha. So it's a really good example of taking a site that had previously been utilized for the Manhattan Project, for enrichment purposes, and really restoring that site and bringing a new capability.
Yeah, lots ahead. It looks like we're not quite done with the fission energy. There is still a lot more ahead with that technology, and it looks like the Kairos Power, you guys are doing a lot of work to figure out how to make it safer, how to make it better, and a better team player, I guess, in the future of energy.
Absolutely.
In the United States. Well, Ed, we really appreciate your time today. Appreciate the information. And again, one more time, if we want information on Kairos Power, where do we find you online?
Go to www.kairospower.com. If you're interested in jobs, we have a careers webpage. If you're interested in what we're doing in Mesa del Sol, we have an FAQ that talks a little bit more about that. And just keep your eyes and ears out for some of our events. We're big on bringing the community in. We have a lot of community engagement, so please keep your eyes and ears open as well.
Big subject to explore, Ed. Thanks so much
Thank
for
you
your
for
time.
having
Appreciate
me.
it. And again, guys, if you want more information on this episode, other episodes of New Mexico Frontiers, the digital series, we do have that on KRQE.com. And be sure that you download the KRQE Now app if it is not already on your smart device, your Roku, your Apple TV, Fire Stick, all that good stuff. Until next time, I'm Chad Brummett. This has been New Mexico Frontiers, the digital series.